With me right now is attorney Michael Hart, who was a former city councilor, took some time off, and is now looking to regain a seat on the city council. Welcome to the program, Mike Hart.
Thanks for having me, Frank.
You know, I know that in a little bit of the bio, I was doing some research on this, and it happened to say that you were on the city council for about 10 years, and then you wanted to take some time off to be able to enjoy your grandchildren. And I suspected, and I shared this with you, I said, I think they wanted to have you babysit a little bit too much, and that's when you said, I think I'm going to go back on the city council.
Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed my grandchildren and still do. And yeah, there have been a few babysitting duties, but and I've enjoyed that also.
Well, that's good. One of the things you happen to say is that I guess you're very, very pleased to see that as Haverhill has evolved into the world-class city that you always knew it could be, you wanted to become a part of that to be able to see that that enhancement and projection goes even further.
That's true. I mean, I just think what's going on right now is so amazing. It's like revolutionary in a way in terms of what can happen to the downtown, what I believe will happen to the downtown area. We've already seen, you know, tremendous development down in the Washington Street area and housing, restaurants, businesses, and you know, when I was growing up, it was Merrimack Street that was the hub of activity, and that sort of went the other direction, you know, and now it's coming back, and not only coming back, it's going to be fantastic. That Harbor Place will be fantastic.
You know, what do you think some of the new things, do you think the new things on the horizon have a certain sort of a link with the development that's going on now as far as the momentum is concerned, and that's what you're looking to have the city capitalize on?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. That will just get things going, I mean, in a big way. I just imagine, I don't think people really realize the impact when we have a major university with the students down in that building, with HT Media being down there as well, and the interaction between the students and HT Media and many other relationships like that going on. No, it's going to be fantastic.
With the multi-story building that's going to be there, with the University of Massachusetts, with the Pentucket Bank, and with the other things that are going on, not only with HC Media on the first floor, which have a whole glassed open area to see productions as they're happening, which will be a wonderful thing, almost analogous to what you see on NBC and Today's Show in Times Square or
Right.
Rockefeller Center.
Right, absolutely.
But you see that those types of things and those dynamics going on, that begets a lot more people and a lot more traffic. When you have that traffic, you want that traffic to be able to count for something, and that maybe is, you're talking about the other ancillary business you're hoping will take effect. Is it true? I think I saw in a sketch or a diagram that they talked about the Harbor Place project and what that happens to be in 3 phases. Mm-hmm. But then they're also looking at the future for what may be happening across the street with the parking garage area location and other things going down the pike. So what you're talking about is kind of already in place, no?
Exactly. You're going to see that. Once Harbor Place is a reality, it will just grow out from there, I believe, and continue on down Merrimack Street and expand from there too throughout the city. Not only that, but the enhanced use of the riverfront, you know, right, will be part of this package.
And that's been discussed for years and years, and here is one pivotal showcase moment to show how it actually is being done.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, can you tell me, those are some of the benefits that we're looking forward to in the city of Haverhill. Can you cite some of the problems that you think you've seen in your time off the council that you think you'll be able to make an impact for positively by being able to get a seat back on the council?
Yeah. The one thing that I think right now is so major in this city is our problem with drugs, and I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to be able to make that go away. I probably can't make it go away, to be honest, but that's something I'm looking at. Are we doing everything we can, or what are we doing in this city to try to stem that and turn that around? So we've got some issues. We have, it's always a concern with the proper funding of our public safety, which I do definitely keep an eye on. I followed the budget this year, and we're committing pretty, you know, like $10 million, I think, almost each $10 million to the fire and the police department. And can we do better with that a little bit? I know because our police department is at a bare minimum when most of the time, because I speak with the chief a lot, and I think we could improve on that. I'd like to improve on that. I think the mayor is doing a good job. I'm not here to knock him. I think he does a good job and the best he can. And if I can see ways where maybe we can improve on that and work with him, then that would be something that I'd like to do.
Heroin abuse seems to be, at such a fever pitch, for lack of a better way to go ahead and put that. Are there any initiatives that are on the books that seems as though they could try, that have been proven to try to alleviate this or to ratchet it down somehow? And
I don't think anything is thoroughly working. Of course, you've got the Narcan to try to help people live through it, but that's not solving the problem. And I know the council has, several councils, I think Council McGonigal brought that up in the past and has looked at it. So, and he's has been the head of the Public Safety subcommittee on the council. And I would like to join with him and see if there's anything else that we could, look at and do. Because you're asking me what's a problem, that's a problem.
Something that if we were to ask the same question 10 or 20 years ago, it would never have been under consideration, and that is that a lot of times now, when somebody goes in for a job interview and they test well during the course of the interview and everything is fine, they will go ahead and hire that person subject to being able to have a drug test. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the prerequisites they happen to have. Is something of that type, would that be anything that would be on the table, whether it would be something for city employees or whether that would be in the school department or for students? And I'm putting that in this context, that in the same way that many good, solid leaders say they'll never ask anybody to do what they wouldn't subject them to themselves, and that is that if you were to try to have a random drug testing situation in school, that if the students were subject to that, to be able to incentivize a situation, well, if they're going to do that, the teachers are going to do that as well, that everybody is following the same track,
right,
to try to expose it or try to inhibit people from being able to go down that road. Right. Because if you have random drug testing, and if they find something that's not right, for zero tolerance, you're out. I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Mike?
Well, it's been talked about, and it's always got to be discussed and worked out with the unions. And yeah, to some degree, and especially for some professions, it's a good idea. Yeah.
Can I ask you this question? Given the fact that limitations that the city has relative to their taxes, and I know that residential pay 100% valuation and commercial pays 150%. There's been questions that have been raised in the past, and I think some people are voluntarily doing it, but in other sections and other parts of the country, they're talking about it more and more, about having tax-exempt organizations. And let's say if we exclude nursing homes and churches and temples at this point, we exclude them, but other not-for-profit organizations or tax-exempt organizations, whether they happen to go ahead and give a 10% of what their normal tax bill would be as a contribution paid in lieu of taxes, that could help fund a lot of things such as Narcan or maybe increase a police presence or technology. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that's definitely something that would be beneficial to the city if we had that up and running. I think we have a lot of non-profits in this city, though, that probably wouldn't be something that they could do and still function. I mean, you could look at what the nonprofits are, and if they're healthy enough to do it and they could be encouraged to do it, that would be good. But a lot of them really, it's just different here. We're not that, many of our nonprofits just aren't large enough to do something like that.
Okay, very good. Mike, that'll probably have to be the last word, but we wish you the best of luck in your upcoming election. Mike Hart, running for City Council, City of Haverhill.
Thank you,
again.
Frank.
Thank you
for having me.
You bet. Thanks. We'll be back.